Welcome back to another episode of the Ty Brady Way. You know, Paul hit me up. It's Paul Edwards. Thanks for welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ty.
Hey, thanks for being here. We got talking, and I'm like, I should have you on my show. So I got to know you because you trained. Cyrus is big, by the way. You horse trainer, and you still do a little bit of that?
I go and I coach some kids, mostly 4-H people who can't afford training. I go and volunteer and give them some pointers.
Oh, I got you.
I have some time, yeah.
But you have a background in horse training, trained horses, trained our horse, yeah. And then my daughter's just too big to ride it now, so now it's just a big cuddly dog, she says.
Yeah, she's pretty talented at a lot of things, so she's got her hands in a lot of stuff. But no, she's very talented, and yeah, I started going across the country training Arabians and show horses, and helped win a few national titles, and then had an injury and kind of migrated into medical sales.
Medical sales.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're horse trainer. Did you grow up wanting to be a horse trainer, or how did you get into that?
Yeah. Actually, my stepdad had horses, racehorses. So I started out just working his racehorses at the track when I was like 12, and then I did some 4-H, and then I met a lady named Wendy on Stott, and she took me to my first show, and I was hooked. And yeah, when I was 17 in high school, I wrote down my goal was I wanted to win a national title and be a horse trainer, which I didn't realize meant sleeping in a stall.
Oh, did? No, yeah, okay.
But like when you live and ride horses and travel in the country, all you need is a place for your stuff when you are in between horse shows anyway. So.
Well, that is so true. I guess people wouldn't think that. They probably see it's a glamorous lifestyle, but those animals rely on you, right?
Yeah. It's glamorous. I mean, it depends what your definition of glamorous is. I mean, it's glamorous for me. I got to hang out with some of the, best horses in the country, meet some of the coolest people. I mean, and got some pretty neat experiences. I mean, I once went to a wedding at Ranger Stadium.
Wow.
For just so I could dance with the bride because I knew how to country dance and she was a client. So you have some fun experiences.
So horse training, with somebody, my daughter loved it, by the way, and still does. I think if she could, she was talking about being a vet, right? Because she loves animals. And she took the pre-SAT scores, and she scored really high on biology, science, and now she's getting all these letters from these colleges saying, "Hey, have you ever thought about being a doctor?" So I was like, I had no idea. I mean, I had to ask her, what is a good score on an SAT? What's a pre-SAT? All these things, and I'm learning as I'm going here because that wasn't my deal, right? It's like asking me about horse training. But is there any formal training, with horse training, or is it just basically on the job?
Well, yeah, it's a lot like anything, you could go to school to be a doctor.
Okay.
But essentially it's how much hard work you put in, and then who is your mentor? Who are you learning from?
Yeah.
It goes with anything. So I know a lot of trainers, and they learn from some people, and I decided that if I want to do this, I want to learn from the best. So I went and I would go and I work with some of the top horse trainers in the country. And it wasn't about how much you're getting paid. It's about the knowledge that you're getting. So
and then you make it your own.
Yeah. And then you find out what's good. And a lot of the time, probably in a lot of industries, it works the same in sales. So many people are spending so much time trying to reinvent the wheel and what's the new thing. And, I'm this and that. And when you go and meet the top people who've been doing this and winning everything, and you sit down and you just learn what it is, it's basic. Everybody's doing the same thing. They're not reinventing the wheel. They just work harder at making the wheel. They get up at 3 a.m. and work harder than you. It's not a matter of what technique it is. It's they're talented, but they're going to outwork you more than anything.
I think I've heard it many times, and I'll read that you may be more talented at something than me, but I've made a commitment that I'll outwork you, and outwork you harder. I'm not saying this, but I'm getting up at 3 a.m. before people go and get to bed at 7. And as a horse trainer, I can imagine you're up before dawn, You're working 16-hour days, if not more.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me a little bit about like the routine of when you were horse training, like what that.
I mean, so there's in the winter, you're putting in a lot of work because it depends on what level you want to be at. And mine was, I had a lot of kids, and I worked for a barn that expected and wanted national titles. So, you don't just go to the horse show and win. It starts here in December, in November for a show in July. You're building up and building habits of that horse, because that's all horse shows are, is it's just repetitive habits over a long period of time. And then
Isn't that life?
Well,
that's how you
now
yeah.
now when I'm out of horses, it's like, I guess I learned a lot.
Or maybe if you have kids, right? It's repetitive habits over time.
Yep. And sometimes you think that you're going to try something new, and you realize, I should just keep working hard. So, and then you get to like nationals, and I'm so used to trying to be the first one there. Well, the first one there at a horse show is 3 a.m. and some of the best horse trainers in the country. I get there 3:30 a.m. after getting done at the horse show at 12:30.
Oh, I remember. I remember times when you're putting the horse after the show and cleaning everything up, and my wife wasn't getting home till 1:30. She's like, "We got to put tackle away. We got to put the horse away."
Yeah, and
doing it all over.
Yep, and then you got to get there at 3 a.m. in the morning to work all the horses before anyone gets there to make sure, because you're like, for your daughter, for example, she puts in a lot of time and effort. It means a lot to her. You guys put in a lot of time and effort. So if me waking up an extra 2 hours early to make sure that horse is locked in, there's no unexpected error that will pop up. Just so she could have a 15-minute class go well, it's worth it.
What title did she finally end up? Junior rider? I can't even remember all the titles. She won many titles.
She won a bunch of high points and stuff.
I don't.
And we'll get her on we'll get her on a national title too. The hard part is, she had nationals for cheerleading, which she's, just like with horses, she doesn't do anything little, and so she won a lot there, and so she would go and do cheerleading, and our nationals are at the same time as that. But so we decided just to win all the high points with her.
Yeah, and she did really well.
She was, and just so. Your kid is one of the most humble, hardworking kids ever. It was easy to teach your kid, easy, because she didn't expect anything, and it made working easier for her. Yeah.
Well, with horses, I'm seeing there's got to be some similarities with just people, life. People. Is every horse the same?
No, and
you laugh.
Well, yeah, it's like, I hate to say it this way, but like some of the most talented horses I had, the ones that would win, were so challenging mentally. Like, just because they won a lot, everyone thought, oh, they're easy to ride. When in reality, to get them to their top level, to be the horse that can win a national title, it's difficult. It has very specific qualities and traits that make it difficult to get along with, and then you have one that's easy to get along with and sweet, and anyone can ride it, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to win everything. But what do you want? Like, just because it doesn't win the national title doesn't mean it's not a great horse. It's just not its realm. Like, you can be a great dad, doesn't mean you're LeBron James. You're not winning an NBA title. Yeah. So each horse is a little different, and you can't train it the same, and you have to, the baseline for starting the horse is the same, and then you have to be willing and ready to move. Like, I'll tell you, I had an idea of a lesson every day for Cyrus, and I would tell Cyrus, it became a joke. Like, you
had a plan. You're like, hey, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to do this, and
5 minutes into the lesson, it changed.
On what, either Cyrus or the horse? Because the rider has an impact on the horse, right? Yep. So it's depending on the rider and the horse.
Yeah, some days it's about, okay, he's being a little naughty, we're going to change this, or school was a little rough that day. And there's some days that you got to read the kid, and they've got a lot going on, and like me just being another no, you have to do this. Like, there were times for that, but then there were times that it was like, okay, let's have some fun. Let's just go back to just letting her be on a horse.
Some of the funnest times when she would come home and talk to me, she's like, Dad, I rode the horse bareback. Didn't put all the tack on, just went and rode. Or Dad, I lunged the horse?
Yeah.
I lunged the horse. Or some of the coolest videos that I have is Cyrus when she was a littler. I mean, gosh, she's growing up so fast. is like the horse would follow her around like a puppy dog. And then that's why we bought the horses. It was, I don't know why, there was just a bond from day one. And that horse also loved little kids. And that was what I mean, I don't want to put a 6-year-old on a horse that's going to act up, but there was that bond.
Well, and I don't know if you remember, but you guys weren't actually meant to buy that horse. So I would have your daughter ride in sale videos all the time.
Yeah.
And so it was a sale video, and I helped ride that and break that horse in Texas, and it came here. So I knew him, and I cared about him a lot. And I was like, hey, Cyrus, you want to be in a sale video? And then I asked Amanda, and I told Amanda, because at the time we were looking for a horse for upper level shows. Mm-hmm. And I'm honest about it. And I'm like, he's not going to win you a national title. He's a great horse. Anyone can ride him. And so the whole idea was like, hey, we're going to do this, but this isn't a horse to buy. And the problem was Cyrus fell in love with him, and he loved Cyrus. Mm-hmm. And I think like 2 weeks later, it was in February, and Cyrus's birthday's in March, I believe.
Yeah. Look at you. Wow, I'm impressed. Yeah. It's been a minute. You remember that. That's amazing.
And
coming up.
Yep.
She'll be 17.
Oh, now I feel, that makes me feel real old. Yeah. But Amanda came up to me and she's like, hey, I think we're going to buy him and do that. And I was like, at that point, it's like, okay, we're going to change your goals on this horse, but it's about if you love him. And she loved him. That's what that's what made training and shows easy with Cyrus. Like, it wasn't about the win. It was about, hey, let's do this. Our goal for this show is just this. And that's what I found with her. And some kids are it's not even the kids, it's the parents. And it's like, they've never ridden a horse before, but they'll tell you exactly what is needed to win.
Yeah.
And so, you give them a blue ribbon and some candy, just like they did at the horse show. And you're like, oh, you're a winner. Go sit down.
Well, my daughter has a wall full of first place, second place, third place, high point. I mean, that amazing things. The relationship, how important is the relationship with the horse and the rider? Because I've never been on the horse, but like my daughter would say, I got to hold the reins this way or that way, or maybe it's a click of the foot, or it's when they're locked in, and it is beautiful to watch. Some of the prettiest photos that I have of her, you're just like, all the sparkly, all the get up, and it's not cheap, by the way. But all that get up. But how important is that relationship with the horse?
It's very important. And it starts honestly with if you're showing it starts with me and that horse and that kid, because I have to understand what does it mean to get that horse to lock in. Because a kid can know how to ride and stuff, but the reason you do lessons is so they become instinct. So when they get nervous and stop breathing, they're doing stuff out of instinct without knowing it.
They can feel your breath. That's important. Like, and like the way she sits and posture.
Counting was a big thing. And mostly I would have them count so they would keep breathing, because most kids get to a show and they stop breathing, and
wow.
And you hold your breath and that horse will feel that tight, and they're a prey animal, and their brain doesn't understand. And so they go into instinct and think someone's on there latching on, because normally a predator is tense and tight on top. And so if you're relaxed and breathing, then you're in motion, and it's a lot. And walking in on a horse, my whole job is I could get that horse to really do its job. And it's, okay, how long can I get that horse to do its job without the person, having to correct it? Mm-hmm. And, some of the really high-end ones, I had one horse that my little girl's middle name is after. Mm-hmm. And he, if I could lock him in, he could be good for 15 minutes. And then my favorite horse was this horse named Just a Jewel. And, she's a multinational champion. And we found her out in the field, and we got her for a really good price, And I told the people, I was like, it's kind of the opposite. I was like, no, you need to buy this one. You want to win a national title, buy this one. 2 years later.
You found her in the field.
Yeah, I knew about her, and she was just sitting there, and it was a good friend of mine, and I was like, you want to win a national title? Buy this one. 2 years later, she won a national title. And coming out of the arena, we're having people offer us just stupid amount of money. But at that point, it's not about money. It's about, they want that horse just for the ribbons, when reality, that's a perfect example of like personality and stuff. You get on that horse, not everyone can ride that horse. Like you get on that horse, it will buck you off. Like, and then if she decided to let you ride her, you'll win everything. Cyrus loved that horse, actually.
Well, so the horse is trained to do what it's supposed to, and the rider is just correcting it if it's needed to be.
Yeah, you're honestly, all you're doing is keeping it in a baseline. So it's like, oh, it's going over here. No, put it back in here. You're trying to just keep it in between the lines, the coloring book of this picture of what is necessary to win a class. And then that horse, has a mind of its own. And so it's all about just trying to balance and keep that horse within this picture.
I'm fascinated because you're just like, it's so many similarities, with this life in general. So you're not doing horse training anymore?
No, I do some coaching, but not full time.
No. And then we're just a last little snippet here because we run out of time. But you're now doing medical sales, and any thoughts you'd like to leave on the medical sales side? And then man, what a fascinating story. We go through ups and downs, and then we're like, hey, we're doing this and we're doing this. It was good to catch up and reminisce and tell the audience about training and horses and so many similarities.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, even having a little rough patch, everyone does and stuff, and it's funny what you gravitate to help get you through. And it's, I mean, me and you knew each other, like we were always fun, like, but like listening to your podcast really helped me just like get through the day. It's like, okay, instead of like, I was so used to winning and stuff like that. You don't realize how to win some days, how you have to win it every day. Yeah. You know what I mean? And small wins, like, and you have to reset on that. And it's like, okay, so you helped me a lot with that. And then I got back into medical sales. I took a break from it.
Yeah.
And I work for a company called ACZ that works with, it's called Advanced Wound Care. And what's cool about that is wound care is a very sensitive thing. A lot of people worry about it, but it's a niche almost. It's very hard to deal with. You get some wounds that are tunneling and kind of gross and can spread, and amputations needed. And like the process before used to be, you go to your primary care doctor and say you have a diabetic wound on your foot, and they're going to try and clean it and take care of it for 30 days. But really, they're doing that just to prep you to go to a wound clinic, which a wound clinic can get you in quick, but for the most part, that's another 4 to 6 weeks.
After you and I spoke, I had a client call me up, and he's dealing with that right now. He says it's been 9 months, and it's trying to. It's a real thing, and I've seen people where they like have a stomach wound and they let it heal from the inside out, and I can only, I can't imagine. But you're helping people like through that.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about it. Like I used to do it with a company called Rotec here, and what I like about this, what we're trying to do is we sell skin allografts for outpatient, and what's great about those
that's where the sales comes in.
Correct. Yeah. And really we're the distribution, and so we're going to do that anyways, but we're educating primary care physicians. So instead of waiting 30 days to then send a patient out to go get healed, well, mentally that patient's like, why should I care about this? No one else does. It's almost like they get pushed to the back for a very serious problem. And so what we're doing, and the thing that is trying to change, is that primary care physician after 30 days, if that wound is not healing, we can actually start treatment in there, and they can do allografts, which is like a skin graft.
Yeah. And
most doctors are nervous about it, but really it's education, and now you're taking that patient. They don't have to wait 6 weeks. They're getting that 6 weeks instead of waiting for it, they're now getting healed with this.
But it's handled at the primary care doctor.
Correct.
So then they don't feel like they're getting passed around, and the patient, it's a win-win-win. The patient gets what they needed done. The doctor's able to help, and wow.
And it really, the whole idea, a lot of it is to, like with diabetic ulcers and stuff, to help prevent amputations.
Sure.
Amputations are it's like a go-to, but you don't. I was at a podiatry conference.
You want to prevent it.
Yeah. What happens to someone when they get an amputation is crazy. Like their mortality rate just goes down.
Oh, I'm sure the mental side of it as well. Not only the healing side. There's so many issues.
Well, think about it. Your primary care physician passes you along. You go to a specialist. They don't know what to do. You know what? Let's just get rid of it. So why should they care about anything if it almost feels like no one else does, right? So what I like about this is we're starting from the primary care physician, and that patient is being told from the start, this is a big deal.
Sure.
We're taking care of you now.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at.
Wow. Any last thoughts there, Paul? And then we'll wrap this up. We want to tell our audience.
I feel like we need to get you on a horse.
You said that from the beginning. You said, like, Ty, we're going to get you on a horse yet. And I'm like, nah, I'm okay. I'll sit on the sideline.
I think I said it's about being consistent. So I'm being consistently like.
Hey, I'm good watching. I'm good. You know, I love taking pictures. I love watching.
But imagine how many people would be good watching you on a horse.
Yeah, okay. I got you. And my wife wrote too, by the way. You trained her. It was very, very.
Yeah, that was easy.
Yeah.
But see, Cyrus is talented. Amanda's talented. I bet you could pick it up.
No. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
As always, share, like, and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.